I've never heard any bad reviews about this car. Full-size SUV with the wheelbase of 3 meters, 2-chamber air suspension with adaptive shock absorbers in standard configuration, zero-gravity seat in standard configuration and massage for both rows of the seaters, 5C charging capabilities and 800 volts platform. This brilliant SUV starts from just $34,000 for brand new car in showroom. Let's check out in details what is that.
From the people who deceive me, muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. People like sheep move feet, hurt it easy. You don't wanna be fast asleep when they scheming. Better stand tall, ready for a fight, believe me.
This is Xiaopeng G9 and I've been waiting so long to make high quality review of this car, and finally our customer, thanks a lot to him, allowed me to take this car for a detailed video and test drive, and today we will of course perform this. This car is not actually a new model, it saw the world in 2021, it entered the market in 2022, and since then we had at least 3 model years of this car, but today we have the newest version. It is 2025 model year of Xiaopeng G9. Now they have 3 versions of this car in this model year, and today I will tell you in details about them, about specification, about equipment, and of course we will perform a test drive. The body length here is 4.9 meters, the wheelbase is 3 meters, the carb weight of the 4-wheel drive version, like this exactly sample, is 2,400 kilos, which is pretty nice for this size of car with such equipment. And that is probably because they used pretty much of aluminum in the body structure and outside panels as well. For example, this fender is made of steel and the roof is made of steel, and by the way, we don't have zinc coating here, but these doors, the outside panels as well as the inside panels, are made of aluminum, same as the front doors. By the way, before I made the review of Xiaopeng G6, which is a younger model and actually it entered the market later than G9, and there we have already the massive die casting, same as Tesla uses, and the part between the rear wheels is actually a single die casted element. But we don't have any of this technology in Xiaopeng G9 because this car, as I've already mentioned, entered the market earlier. Unless most of other cars, we cannot open the cover of the charging port from outside. You can do it or using app or from the central control screen. And I opened the charging port cover to tell you about the V2L system, which is here extremely powerful. It's 6 kilowatt output and by default in all the versions. And here we have the only one plug. It's not because the other plug has been lost, just because the system is like that. You open the cover, you start charging, and the one port which you are not using at the exact moment, you cover with this plug, just rotating it in different directions. The AC port is just a single phase with maximum power of 7 kilowatts. Despite before we had some versions with 11 kilowatt 3-phase AC charging port, but now they stopped production. Generally we had about 20 or even more versions of this car in the previous model years. The prices were totally different, the equipment was different. For example, before we had versions without air suspension, we had versions with bigger batteries, but now we have only these 3 versions. And by the way, during the 3 years from the beginning of production of the car, the price dropped almost twice, because when this car entered the market, the top version was more than 65,000 United States dollars. In 2025 model year, we have 3 versions of this car. The basic one starts from the 79 kilowatt hours battery, which is the smallest one, the single motor based on the rear axle. The power of the motor is 351 horsepower, the torque is about 460 Newton meters, and this car accelerates with such motor from 0 to 100 in 6.4 seconds. The medium version is the same motor and same dynamics, but the battery is already 93.1 kilowatt hours, which is the biggest one. It's still a rear wheel drive car. And the top version, exactly like this, has double motors, has 575 horsepower, and the acceleration from 0 to 100 in just 4.2 seconds. And this version has the only one mark, which is called the G9 Performance, which shows us that this is the top 4-wheel drive model. Separately, we should tell a few words about the batteries here. They are produced and supplied to Xiaopeng by the CALB, the China Aviation Lithium Battery is the large supplier of batteries, and all the batteries here are lithium ferrum phosphate, and all of them has 800 volts platform. The actual voltage in this car is 671 volts. These batteries allow the car to have the 5C charging coefficient, which means that the car can be charged from 0 to 100 in just about 12 minutes. It means that the smaller battery can take up to 440 kilowatts of power, of peak power, and the bigger batteries have to take even more, 530 kilowatts of power, to ensure the 5C charging coefficient. Xiaopeng company is famous for their autopiloting technology, and here we have the level 2 plus navigation guided driving, but this is just the beta version for now. The autopilot system works ensured by 11 outside cameras, some of them with super high resolution, by 12mm ultrasonic radars, and of course by the 2 chips from NVIDIA Orin-X, which has the 508 trillion operations per second processing capabilities. The smart air suspension with adjustable shock absorbers works together with the autopiloting system as well, changing the characteristics of the adaptive shock absorbers up to 200 times per second and adjusting to the road conditions and environment. Now it's time to go to the interior of this car, but before that I would mention one more time that the 3 versions of this car have exactly same equipment. The only difference, and basically the only thing you can define from outside, by default in rear-wheel drive versions we have 20-inch wheels, but in 4-wheel drive versions we have 21-inch wheels without any alternative. We don't have automatic opening and closing of the door, but in all the versions by default we have the electric suction doors, which work extremely nice because you don't have to push the door very far. It actually starts to work from the big gap. It already starts to close the door. Here we have pretty nice finishing with almost everything you touch is soft material. Here is the soft finishing, here is soft, and here is very soft plastic, which actually feels like plastic covered with some soft leather as well. Here we have soft leather as well, here as well, and on the seats we have the natural Napa leather. The seats have construction of 28 layers to ensure the ventilation, heating and 10 points massage right here, with huge possibilities of the adjustment of the waist support. Here we have the steering wheel covered in natural leather with heating in all the versions by default. The ergonomy here is just fine. The only one thing I don't like, that the seat cushion I would prefer to have a little bit longer. We do not have here the adjustment of the length of the seat cushion, such as actually most of the cars now in this price segment already have. We also do not have the HUD because Xiaopeng is the company who, I don't know why, for some reason do not use HUD in their cars. At least I don't know any of their cars with HUD, but nevertheless we have the super informative 10-inch cluster gauge right here in front of us. We have the steering wheel with several physical buttons, but basically the Xiaopeng company, they don't use physical buttons in their cars. This is the only 4 physical buttons, and including these rotating drums, so we can call 6 physical buttons, no more at all. We have, instead of them, we have the central control screen, which is 14.96 inches, which is basically 15 inches, which is 2400 resolution. Here we have exactly same screen for the passenger, and from my position, from the position of the driver, I can note what is going on this screen. The film made specially like that at this angle, nothing can be seen. That is not to distract the driver from driving. The menu of this car is extremely logical, extremely perfect. The touchscreen is quite fast. We have the APP menu, we have the car settings menu. Everything looks nice, everything works fast. The chip here is Snapdragon, I don't remember which index, but anyway, it's really fast, it's really nice. And basically the menu is traditional for most of modern cars, for BYD and for Zeekr. They are basically the same. Here we have the 2 wireless charging slots, which are up to 60 watts each. And here we have the cup holders, of course. In this storage box under armrest, we have possibility to open it from the two sides. We have the outlet of the air conditioner, so basically we can use it as a moderate fridge. And we have here the aromatic system, which is one of the most beautiful aromatic cartridges slots which I have ever seen. Of course, you can steer this system from your climate control menu. We also have very nice microfiber material on the ceiling, and we have the huge glove box with nice finishing, with nice soft flock finishing, which can be opened by the button, which is the best option in my opinion. Also, we have the sound, which is X Opera sound. Before they used Dynaudio, now they used X Opera, and it's quite nice sound. Actually, it's very nice sound. I know it already from G6, and I was amazed by it. In this particular model we have 20 speakers. Now I'm sitting behind myself, and this is extremely nice second row. It is much better than Zeekr 001. It is better than Denza N7, of course, because the car is high, the roof is very high, everything is super convenient, the floor is super low, super flat, the seat cushion is enough long, the seat is convenient, massage, ventilation, heating. We have also the adjustment of the backrest right here. It's from about 27 degrees to 37 degrees. It's extremely convenient, despite this car has much lower entertainment capabilities for the second row seaters than its competitors. For example, we don't have any air conditioner menu, we don't have any display, or we don't have basically the air conditioner for the second row seaters. We have just very simple USB ports and deflectors of the normal air conditioner, and that's all. We don't have any display here. It's just a normal, basic, very comfortable armrest, and that's all. In these terms, Zeekr 001 or Denza N7 or many other competitors give you much more. Nevertheless, it's so cozy and convenient here that I can forgive it. The panoramic sunroof is a little bit different story about which we need to talk. First of all, it's extremely huge. Secondly, it doesn't have any sunshade, which is basically bad. But in Xiaopeng, they claimed that they made some special silver plate coating which protects you from ultraviolet for more than 99%, which protects you from the infrared rays for more than 99.9%, and the SPF sun protection index is 100 plus, which is feelable and which is quite good. Now we are under the extremely hot sun. It's 1 p.m. in Shanghai, and if I would be sitting here in, for example, Avatar 11, I would already burn my head. Here I feel just slight heat from this glass, but it's not dramatical for sure. Generally, as for me, this second row is extremely good and extremely comfortable, and the buttons of steering of the seat ventilation, seat heating and massage are physical buttons and are on the door armrest. The luggage compartment is definitely a very strong point of this car. The competitors like Zeekr 001 or Denza N7 or Zeekr 7X are far behind. Here we have the 795 liters of the useful space. We have very good finishing here. We have the hooks for fixation of your cargo, which made of metal and very pleasant, and even have soft clothes. We have also the steering, we have also the niche under the false floor, which is very usable and very convenient. We have also steering of the rear air suspension. In case you need to make the trunk lower to load something, we can make it lower or higher. And we have the buttons to fold the rear seats, but to fold them back you need to do it only manually. In this configuration, when the both seats folded, we have almost 2000 liters like right here. We don't have flat floor, but nevertheless this cargo space is purely amazing. For me personally, I found one more small disadvantage, because this car, despite it has the V12 with high power up to 6 kilowatts, it doesn't have the 220-230 volts power socket like normal socket in your home, and I'm used to it so much while driving the BYD Tang, and also the Zeekr 001 has it, but here we have only the 12 volt sockets, unfortunately. You also shouldn't forget this car has the frunk, which is 71 liters of the space. Unfortunately, we don't have the electric drive of the front lid, and we don't have even the soft close of the front lid, but nevertheless. Let's talk about the ground clearance and suspension. Here we have the air suspension, and now it is in the highest position. As we can see, under the plastic protection of the front subframe, it is 213 millimeters, but actually it's the lowest part, which comes outside a little bit. Finally, we find many places where it will be more than 225 millimeters. The suspension is fully aluminum. Here you can see when the part numbers of the levers. We have the double wishbone upper lever, and we have the struts supplied by Bilstein for this car, which is actually even said on the official website of Xiaopeng. In the middle of the car we have 220 millimeters. Everything is very well protected, looks pretty fancy. Here we have some special protective coating, and as I see, the aluminum battery pack. In the rear part of the car, the ground clearance is much bigger. It's traditional. We have 234 millimeters under the subframe and probably around 350 millimeters or more under the bumper edge. Here we have the multi-link rear suspension, and everything is protected and fitted pretty nice. Now it's time to perform test drive of Xiaopeng G9. Top version car with four-wheel drive with 571 horsepower or 75, and we start. This car has very clear positioning. Xiaopeng doesn't position it like a race bullet, it doesn't position it like an off-roader or a gadget. It positions this like a comfortable liner, and it's perfectly match its marketing strategy. First, what you feel in this car, it's very quiet inside. At the speed of 100 kilometers, the noise in the cockpit is about 35 decibel or something, and Xiaopeng claims it is same as in cars which cost more than 150,000 United States dollars. And by the way, here are no any multi-layered soundproof glass. They have just one layer glass, which is very thick and which works extremely perfectly. The next thing is the suspension, and this is the air suspension with a lot of options how to adjust it. We have around 6 options for the level of the suspension and 6 options for the stiffness of the air suspension. And even in the sport mode which we have right now, this car doesn't feel like an ultimative sport car like, for example, the Xiaomi in the sport mode or Zeekr. This car is much more soft, and now we have even the steering wheel in the most sharp position and brake pedal in the sharpest mode, and I don't feel it's really sharp. Basically, this car feels approximately like a BYD Tang L in the sport mode. This car feels approximately same, but I would say it's much more comfortable, and the most important, it's much more quiet. Even at the speed up to 150, it's still very quiet inside. Now we come up to something in which this car is a little bit weaker compared to competitors. Now at the traffic lights we will accelerate not even in the sport mode but in the launch mode, so the car will use all its power. Let's go. This is pretty fast, but at the same time you feel that the power is not so enormous like in several competitors like Zeekr 001 or like even Denza N7 or of course Xiaomi. This car accelerates, it gives you power, but at the same time you feel such like very petty noise, and the car like pretends not to want to do it. It just says, okay, if you really need, I will give you this 4.2 seconds from 0 to 100, but it is not something I want to do constantly, time after time. When you drive even the BYD Tang, you really want to accelerate from 0 to 100 almost from the every traffic lights, but here the situation is completely different. This car is adjusted and aimed at comfort for sure. And the best thing here that the average energy consumption now it's even fallen. It's about 23.2, but just now it was 25 something, and it's extremely good energy consumption, especially in our test drive mode, because in this test drive mode I use the sport mode, and actually the car stays with AC on for a long time. It's very hot outside. I'm surprised it can be such a low energy consumption, because BYD Tang under the same conditions 2 weeks ago showed about 37 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. Of course, that was not a real energy consumption, but at the same time the conditions were exactly same. Despite it's not a sports bullet, I have extremely good feeling of the car. I don't need any time to get used to it. Its handling is perfect. Its view from all the mirrors through all the windows is extremely perfect as well. And basically driving this car in a normal city mode is actually a pleasure. As this car has the traffic light sign recognition, as many cars have it, but this car actually has function while even the all autopiloting functions are turned off, it still reminds you when the traffic light turns to green, and it makes you a small, very polite beep in your headrest speakers that you should start going. For me, this function is actually perfect, and I've never experienced this function in any other car. I don't know what's going on with the average energy consumption, but currently it's already dropped to 23 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, which in my opinion cannot be so low in this car, but it's extremely pleasant to actually look at this energy consumption. This is exactly this case. The car doesn't make you any trouble. You're just driving here and resting. You don't think about anything. The car is not as wide as many rivals such as Zeekr 001, so it's much more convenient in the city. Basically, one of the best options for comfortable, normal, quiet driving. Everything I heard about Xiaopeng G9 before came out to be true. This car basically doesn't have disadvantages, and everything you can talk about this car is mainly good things. It's extremely quiet, extremely comfortable, extremely practical. It costs moderate money, especially in 2025, and it has vast equipment. At the same time, there are some weaker points compared to competitors. First of all, this car doesn't have the dynamics which, for example, 7X four-wheel drive have, or Zeekr 001 four-wheel drive, or Denza N7 four-wheel drive has. It doesn't have additional equipment from factory as well. Basically, it doesn't have any options you can add to this car, despite, for example, Zeekr 001 has more than 10 options could be added from factory. But generally, it's really nice car, and it's cheaper than Zeekr 001. This car, the top version four-wheel drive in Chinese showroom, costs about 38,000 United States dollars, depends on the exchange rate, and the used cars from the first years of production, rear-wheel drive, could be already found for about 25,000 United States dollars or even less. If you want to buy such car from China, you can contact me directly. All the contact information under this video. If you like this video, push the like button. Please subscribe to my channel who is not subscribed yet. And of course, looking forward to the new videos. Thank you very much.